Okay. Good.
Happy birthday. Hey to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eddie. Happy birthday to you.
Recognize this guy?
No.
Can't trust anybody. Come on in, Eddie.
Everybody got you, Eddie.
I guess so.
Happy birthday.
Oh, my word.
Get you a seat.
Hi Eddie, how are you? Happy birthday. Behaving yourself?
No, we're
No?
That would be no fun.
Oh, my word.
Eddie, you almost set the head of the table today.
Yeah, you get the head of the table for once.
Okay. Yeah, all this is good. Happy birthday to This morning I woke up and I was laying in bed and praying for today and that the Lord would have His will and that He would bless Ed in a very special way. And I was thinking about Ed's life. And in his early, I'm sure most of you have heard in his early life, he was a little bit on the run. And then he ended up in Korea, and he and God made a deal. Right, Ed?
Yeah.
And he came to realize what God wanted to do with him. Because, you know, when I think about it, the Korean War was one of the most horrible wars there ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking hell on earth, right there in front of him. And yet God spared his life and brought him home for a purpose. And so, Proverbs 2. My son, if you receive my words and treasure my commandments within you, this was God's promise to him in Korea. I'm not saying this is what it was all about. So that you incline your ears to wisdom and apply your heart to understanding. Yes, if you cry out for discernment and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her as silver and search her as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is a shield to those who walk uprightly. He guides the path of justice and preserves the way of his saints. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, equity, and every good path. When wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is present in your soul, discernment will preserve you. Understanding will keep you to deliver you from the way of evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave the path of uprightness. That's my brother, right there.
Ed has been a blessing to my family. I am not a farmer, but I do have grapes and that I know not how to prune. And Ed would come over on a yearly basis to prune my peaches and apples and grapes, and I had grapes that year. But if it wasn't for Ed, forget it. I would have killed the grapes. I kill everything. So I just want to say that I really appreciate your head.
God bless you. I love you, brother.
I love you too.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eddie. Happy birthday to you.
And many, many more.
But with my bad lungs, I might have to do it twice.
That's okay. There you go. There you go.
Praise the Lord.
I don't know what you're talking about bad lungs. That was pretty good.
Our pastor, Ken, he's been our new pastor. We lost Pastor Moore. So I just thank you for coming. And I want you to know I love you. We pray for you that God will work out his purpose in Spirit and Christian Center. God bless. Amen. Thank you. I just want to appreciate everyone coming. Certainly a surprise. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yes, He does.
And so I just thank the Lord for Dawn and Tor and everyone that had a hand in here. It's been a blessing, and I would give God the glory. I just want to share briefly, since you brought up my younger life, give you a brief resume of my walk with the Lord. I have to keep it brief because I could write a book on it. A lot of people have asked me to write a book, but I want to first of all say thank God for a godly mother and father.
Amen.
That when Naaman and I had scarlet fever, and I was 5, she was 6. And the doctor had given up on us. He said, there's nothing more we can do. And a neighbor lady said to Mother, would you let our preacher come pray for those kids? Mother says, anything. So the preacher came, and I remember he put oil on my head, anointed us, and the next morning, my sister woke me up, and it was in the middle of the winter. She says, let's go out and make a snowman.
Wow.
Overnight, God healed us.
Amen.
And Mom and Dad, as I recall, from sharing with them, is they went and they both gave their heart to the Lord, and I've walked with the Lord all through the years until the Lord took them. So that was the beginning. And so Mom and Dad were very strict and brought us up, and so I'll jump ahead. I was 13, I was in first year high school in Somerville, New Jersey, and of course, Dad had a razor strap, and had a handle on it, and he sliced it up in little pieces. So anytime we were disciplined, one wrap around our legs, you know, we took notice. So, but at 13, I joined the Boy Scouts, and you learn a lot. What I learned to smoke. Now, I was saved, I had given my heart to the Lord, but you know, when you get together with boys, I don't know what girls do, but the boys, anyway, we pulled out. But you know, I was a brilliant boy, because after smoking a couple, I put the pack in my pocket, and I walked home, and of course, I was late for supper, and anytime you got late for supper, you didn't get any. So Dad met me at the door, and here
I had a pack of cigarettes. Well, he says, son, you go upstairs, take all your clothes off, and I'll be up. Well, he come up with that strap. Now, my dad was an old German boy. He loved the Lord, a godly man. And I tell you, my dad, but anyway, he had his idea of discipline. He licked me, and he started in. He lost it, and he wrapped me. I had welts from all my legs, and I was bare naked, and jumping up on the bed, and he was on me, and Mother had to come up and tackle him and get him off of me. Well, that night I suffered all night with welts all over me, and so I was 13, like I say, but I was 6 foot, 180 pounds. I was a big boy for my age, and the next day it did something to my brain or something, because I went to a neighbor who I worked for at a roadside stand. When he saw that, what had happened to me, he was going to call the authorities, have my dad put away, and I begged him not to touch my dad. I said, I'm going to run away. So I don't know what happened there, whether he said or what, but I went home, packed my suitcase, and Mr. Durham owed me $5, and so he gave me the $5, and the first thing I bought with that was a carton of Lucky Strike. And because something happened, like I say, things happen even if you're born again, but something happened to me, and I was determined that I was not going to let my dad whip me anymore. So I got the Lucky Strikes, went out on the highway, started hitchhiking. I got a ride up to the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Got another ride, another fellow stopped. He said, where you going? I said, where are you going? He says, that was in 1941 when the military was hiring, it was a draft. They were drafting everybody. And the Navy, they were shipping all these boys out, and he was going to go home to Minneapolis and and say goodbye to his mother. And so I said, well, can I go with you? He says, can you drive? Well, boy, brought up on a farm. I knew how to handle tractors, trucks, and all of that. And I said, sure. So anyway, we got to Minneapolis, and his mother let me stay overnight. The next morning I went downtown to the employment office, told her I needed a job. And so I got a job on a dairy farm, taking care of 22 head of cattle, had the milk and all that. I won't go into the details, but anyway, I didn't write home, but I had the pleasure of smoking all those cigarettes. But anyway, this was like October, came Christmas time. Every night I'd go to bed and cry because I knew I had broken my mother's heart. And so I never wrote home, but finally, I got near Christmas, I wrote home to let my mother know I was all right. And I got a letter back from my dad, and he begged me to come home for Christmas. He said, your mother has a broken heart. He says, you can go back, but just come home for Christmas. When I got home, it was like, Dad said, I want you to stay home, son. But he says, if you want to smoke, don't do it in front of your brothers and sisters. So anyway, but for some reason I couldn't settle down. It was a frame of mind, and I had met a fellow about 10 years older than myself, which was bad company, but he had influence over me. So I buddied up with him, and he talked me into running away again. So I run away again. So this time we went to West Virginia. I got a job there as a soda jerker at a store. And one day the police come in, and they asked me my name, and he took me down to the police station. He said that your parents set out a warrant for you on the whole East Coast, and you fit the factor. And he says, we're gonna handcuff you and put you on a Greyhound, send you home. When he said, you're gonna handcuff me, I started crying. I was a big boy, but I said, look, don't handcuff me. I'll buy on that bus, I'll go home. So anyway, they did. They didn't handcuff me. I went home and I spent another couple of months, and then we ran away again. This time we went to Florida. And then I'm about 14, 15, something like that. Anyway, we got to Florida. We were both dead broke, and we got a job on a dredging company, Rundle Corporation. We lied our age, and I got a job as a deckhand, well, both of us did. And so, for the next whole year, I spent in Florida on that dredge. And of course, you lived on there was a dredge. About 25 guys lived on board, and they had trouble getting help. But I did a man's job, we both did. And I said, God, I don't know how to handle this. I kept walking, and I can't believe old Satan was there talking to me, and I didn't realize it. And the thought came to me, well, you run away before, run away again. So I went down to the train station of Philadelphia, and the next morning I went and joined the Marine Corps. And I thought, well, the Korean has just broke out, and I thought, well, I'll go to Korea, I'll get killed, and I have no problems. Because I was walking with the Lord, but all these thoughts came to me. And so, before I signed up, I had 10 days to stay at home before I had to go to Paris Island. Mother called the school, and the school, because of Paul and Ann Berg, and by the way, I want you to know that Paul and Ann Berg's son is here, Paul Jr. That kind of winds it up as to a little bit about where Ed Scholl comes from.